first things first, we need to say what the goals of Russia are. And Vladimir Putin said there was pretty much 3 main goals. 1, liberation of Donbass, or protecting Russians, or whatever. This seems rather achievable at this time for negotiation. 2, demilitarization. That seems to have failed. And 3rd, and least successful, denazification. Because Russia needs a decisive victory to get rid of denazification, and that's completely failed. I'm not going to beat around the bush. Russia has lost this war in terms of making Ukraine a puppet state. Why? Because they're still a military operation, they're not sending in conscripts, they're greatly outnumbered. So, what Ukraine's probably going to do is, during the muddy season, they're turning the front lines into something similar to World War I if I was in charge of Ukraine. Lots and lots of trenches and stuff. So, when the ground hardens and tanks can roll over it, well, they'll probably get destroyed because they're facing heavily defended positions. And there'll be trenches everywhere because Russia's outnumbered. Let's say Russia has 500,000 troops at most, while Ukraine has at least 2 million troops. So that's 4-1. And I don't think Russia's going to do that against a highly defended enemy. So it will turn into a war of attrition, and Russia can't win a war of attrition unless they send in conscripts or volunteers. Now there's this talk about 20,000, I'm just going to call them mercenaries from Syria. And those are good, but yeah, I don't see Russia having more than 500,000 troops in Ukraine. So what they've realised is that we've tried to take Kiev or spook Kiev, and it's completely failed. Personally, I think it was a mix between taking over the city and spooking Ukraine into a peace treaty. Now, I'll stand by. On the first week of the war, Russia was offering a good peace, and I would have taken it if I was in charge of Ukraine, but Zelensky and his goons have not taken it, so that means we've got to a point now where accepting that the same stuff would be a mistake, in my opinion. So I think the best peace way for this war to end, which is likely, is that before Victory Day, which is like a military holiday, which is like military Christmas or whatever in Russia, before that, 1 or 2 week or whatever, they signed like a peace treaty saying Lugansk and Donetsk People's Republic are fully independent, and Ukraine recognizes them. And I think that's honestly what Russia, in exchange for Russia leaving the rest of Ukraine, and that's honestly what Russia should be looking for, because that's the most realistic peace treaty. Anything more, and I think Ukraine's going to keep fighting, because remember, Ukraine's got, this may sound unrealistic, but trust me, it's true. They've got World War era Maxim guns, or it's Lewis guns or whatever, and mustn't negate, which is World War I rifles. So they literally got World War I weapons in World War II, World War I trenches. So that was pretty cool. And it's like the equivalent of someone rocking up to a medieval battlefield with stuff from 100 years ago, which is interesting, which means I think it's actually, we're getting to the point where history is stagnating. Well, not military technology is stagnating, because the Focke-Wulf 190 was used as a ground attack aircraft late in the war, and while looking at what aircraft are doing, it would still be an effective weapon today. So, what the biggest takeaway of this war is, yes, drones and stuff are new, but war is war is war. It's relatively the same. And this is a conventional war. And it looks like it's gone back to trench warfare, which is pretty interesting, and I think it'll go down as a very important war in history. So yeah, the West is the global hegemonic order or whatever has been changed forever. Modern war has been proven to not be so different after all to old war, despite the iPhones. And yeah, that Russia's not going to advance, Ukraine's not going to advance, and that is all.